Hey everybody, and welcome to the stream. Hey guys, Waspi here. I hope you have a good day or good night or whatever you do have on your part of your country and our big globe. Welcome to the stream about Just Kiddin, a track that I'm about to publish tonight on YouTube, a track that was published for Pump It Up game recently, number of years ago. And I've got some interesting stories to tell you about it. That's why we're here. Let's do something of a rule set first. Let's have an agreement about what's happening here. First of all, you might have noticed you don't see me speaking. I hope you can appreciate my leaning towards this radio style something, so you can easily do what you like to do while you're listening to something interesting, because we're not going to show anything different on a screen, different to what you see right now at least. Second of all, we require that you do know the track, because I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you some very interesting and, let's say, secret things. Some of them I would like to keep closed from others, but tonight I'm going to reveal most of them at least. I'm not completely decided yet, to tell you the truth. So we are going to listen to the track, and then I'm going to come back to you and talk you through the list of facts. You can ask me whatever you want to. The chat is open. You can chat with each other, of course, as well. But problem is I get easily distracted. So I'll acknowledge your presence, say cheers and this stuff, but I'll answer questions in a concentrated manner. And also, as always, I'm apologizing to you for my English, not only for the sound, but for the fact that I'm still searching words and trying to feel the ground under my feet. I'm very not new to speaking in Russian, but English, kind of a different thing. So let's go on and listen to the track, which is called Just Kidding, and which was a big part of my life, and something that I was very scared to mess with, to fail, but it turned out well, I guess. Let's do it. definitely my favorite part. Definitely. Ding. So, hope you enjoyed the track. Let's get back to discussion. Alright, I came up with the list of 9 facts about the track, but first I'm going to talk just a little bit about what's happening right here, right now. I'm going to come back every Friday, at least it is Friday for me right now in Russia. I'm speaking from Russia, if you don't know that. It is 23, so it's 11 p.m. But it's a very, very different time for each and every one of you. I saw Mexican people, I saw American people, I definitely know some Russian people are listening. So what I want to announce is every Friday something is going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be a good idea for me to appear every Friday and talk to you. Also, it's going to flood the channel with these live recordings. I'm trying to get them on par, if you know what I mean, to not to overflow anybody who is coming to my channel for whatever else they are coming for. But this is still a consideration. I want to keep it tidy. That's why just come back in a week. Whenever you are listening right now, look at your clock and expect that you are going to see something in exactly the same time the next week, okay? So, I'm sorry, let's open up the list. It's 9 facts about Just Kidding, and the first one is, this is the first track of mine that Pump It Up asked for as an exclusive one. I think some of you are who are listening to this recording, they are starting as artists probably, or maybe they play Pump It Up a lot and they wonder, just as I wondered for 15 years I guess, how to get into this system, how to be a part of it. And for me it started very interestingly. I'm not going to dive deep into it if you don't want me to. If you'd like me to do that, just message me. I'll see it in our chat. But the point is, the most convenient way for people to choose amongst your tracks is to just open up your back catalog and work it through, and it's completely understandable. Because from my point of view, if I was a chart maker or a music game producer, it would be a very hard thing to just trust someone to make a track which would work in a context of a rhythm game, right? Which Pump It Up is, if someone doesn't know that. Just Google Pump It Up, we have the title in the description, and you'll get the basic idea. You don't even have to turn our broadcast off. Of course, people do work in relationship and it's great, but if a person in the team is new, you have to have some kind of a blind trust to make them work and maybe even pay up front. So Pump It Up did almost that in my case. So they announced a different price and they wanted this track to be exclusive to Pump It Up line of games. I did a lot of music games before. This is Pump It Up is like maybe 5th, maybe 8th game I did music for. Music game, to be specific. I honestly lost count, but never I was offered this deal. So this was a very concentrated and nervous moment for me, definitely. This is something that this is why I maybe worked that much on the song, and we're going to come back to that later. Second fact is I wrote a whole acoustic guitar version of the drop. Okay, so do you remember the drum and bass drop or dubstep drop, or whatever you call it, right? This heavy bass drop. It's still like a little bit playful. The whole song is kind of playful, right? The whole idea is we are joking, we are messing around. We are going to come back to that either. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to implement more organic instruments into that drop, because this was kind of my signature sound. And basically the whole idea inside of me when I was doing the track was to kind of show off all of my skills that I possessed, which turned out a very bad idea. I do not recommend doing that. Neither to someone who's just starting, nor to my students. This is not the greatest thing to do, because it's freaking hard. But and also it can compromise your work. But nevertheless, I did a sketch, and only my friends heard it before. So this is just the same part. D D D D. So it's meant to be at this in the same BPM, in the same key, but it's played completely on acoustic instruments live by me. And this is an excerpt. I was going to edit it and to pick out the best parts, but here for you I just have this big mass of instruments which represents this section. Let's go. It's kind of messy, but still works, I think. Still works really well. So I just couldn't work it in. It just didn't. It was so so dense already, so pressing already, this part, that there were probably no room for it, I guess. Maybe now, if I started doing that now, when I think of it, I completed the first version at 2015. It didn't seem to me that it was that long ago. I think I would find a way to work it in here right now, but I still don't think it's a good stylistical choice. But of course it's up for debate, and I was willing to go full on to make it super dense, and too much instruments is not a problem for me usually, at least when I talk stylistically. By the way, hey everybody, I know every single person in the chat, and that's the most amazing thing. Sometimes I think it would be great if maybe 40, maybe 100, maybe 1,000 people wanted the stream, but this would definitely turn me away from speaking to you as friends. I would try to keep this going further, and I guess this recording is going to be available to everybody besides the chat, but still it's great to see a lot of familiar people. And by the way, some of them are going to be more familiar with each other in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right, Lara? Okay, let's run further. So that was the second fact from my fact sheet. Let's go to the third one, the longest one, and it fits. I worked on it a little bit too much. The main project has 172 versions. I counted them tonight. It has at least 9 sub-projects, and that's me not counting projects that involve cutting different edits and different technical things. So 9 sub-projects for different parts of the song. And the whole project took 8 months to complete. I want to say up front, this is not to say that that was because this track is so awesome that it only takes 8 months to finish this kind of work. I have some of tracks that people definitely like, maybe more than just Kiddin, that I finished in one night. It was just this weight was a little bit too much for me, and I tried to reach for the level that I maybe did not possess at the time. I have to admit that. Also, I was too nervous, really. No pun intended. I was thinking about that this is my showcase, right? This is my chance to show how compatible I can really be with a rhythm game, but still keep a lot of traits that come with WASPy music and older WASPy music. If you are a long-time listener, you know what I'm talking about. Like this a little bit more organic and traditional, maybe melodical style, not as heavy, not as loaded as modern music we hear everywhere, no matter the genre. Almost in pop electronical scene, almost everything is kind of hard these days. That's not to complain at all, and I like it very much. I just feel right at home when I do this kind of music. Melody heavy, let's put it this way. So, 9 sub-projects, 1 for vocals that I sing throughout the track, and the just Kiddin part. This is also my voice. 3 guitar sub-projects. We are counting this one that I threw away, the guitar sketch you've listened to just 5 minutes ago. Guitar, this final guitar, which is like kind of stadium guitar. This one, which I don't really like, but it's okay. The last one. This is a different project. And also, I was trying to mix it for a very, very long time. It was a big problem for me. So I have 2 different projects with stem mixes. And if you don't know what stem mixes is, it is when you export your whole project out from your working environment and you bounce them to different tracks, maybe 10, maybe 12, maybe 20, maybe 30 tracks, and then you try to mix them together without maxing out your CPU. This is what stem mixing or stem mastering is. But in my case, it was not 20, it was more like 60 tracks. I almost maxed out my FL mixer. I used maybe 93 or 96 tracks out of available 99, which is just ridiculous to talk about. I maybe right now it would be cleaner. Maybe right now I would bounce something up front without waiting for too much. But I have this habit of mine to keep it all online, to imagine that this is my orchestra, because I want to access the orchestra, right? At any time. Maybe I want this part of the orchestra to play right here, right now. And I don't care if it's electronical instruments or completely acoustic. That doesn't matter to me. This is why the project is so heavy that when I open it right now, it basically doesn't work. It opens up, the whole PC is like stalled, and when you press play, I wanted to record you the little snippet of like this first bar of the track. My God, this is like scary. So this was also a sub project. I bounced it out for you tonight. It was created before I wanted to create Just Kiddin. I just thought about it. I thought it would fit in nicely, and also this was kind of mocking of everybody using these synths at the time. Also, you can Google for the track, which is called EDM Trend Machine by Knife Party, and they used this idea, of course, as well. It's too obvious of an idea. I don't think I heard it before I thought of that, but I don't really care. Because this is my basic stance on music. The execution matters very, very much. Ideas sometimes don't, but sometimes they do, yeah. But people mind plagiarism a little bit too much, and they see it where there's no plagiarism. But that's a whole different topic. Okay, so basically it was and still is a mess. For the first time maybe in my working career, I needed a special document which would guide me through the complete track of mine, because there was no chance I could figure it out by myself. So it's described, right? I made this tweak here, then I exported this one, when I tried it to master one track over another, then I added this cut, then because of the cut I had to re-edit. So let's get to the fourth fact in my fact sheet. I completely burned out on the track, which is no fucking surprise, right? Damn. At the last stretch, I was like, I couldn't hear a sound of it. Right now, I'm listening. I'm even kind of proud. It's clean. It's nice. It's like cheery. I like it. It's good. When I was finishing it, though, I couldn't, like, every little idea that I really liked, like this final guitars and da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da, all these parts, I just was so energized about them at the start. And they were fleshed out in, like, maybe first 9 versions. Remember, it has 172 versions. So it was all about little details and mixing and transitions, and this synth is sticking too much and the kick is not working, and oh my god. So at the end I just have this picture of me sitting in Starbucks with 2, not 1 but 2 chocolate cakes, which were my drug of choice at the time, and I was hoping that I could finish them and try to find the best way to finish the goddamn track, to make it fucking work. I can't put it in nicer words. I'm sorry. Oh no, not really. It was a nightmare for me. I could finish at any time basically, but I needed something to stop. So this fact ends like this. I completely burned out on the track, and guitars saved me. I already kind of submitted almost finished version to Endemiro, but then I had this little idea. And once again, as I told you before, as I am like melody heavy, and I understand this world much better for much longer time than I understand the sound world, which I'm just getting really good at. I'm just getting there, just step by step right now. But at the time, it was much more of my own turf. This is why this part, of course, was done in one day completely fleshed out. All this flying delays and beautiful strums, and oh my god, when I added this one, because before it finished, it ended just like it does in Pump It Up, almost like this. There's like ta da ta ta da. And then it goes to ends a small little like piano something. And it was too abrupt, it didn't work. I completely understood that Pump It Up wouldn't keep this. There's no way, there's no rhythm to step to. It's too, even if there is, because if I was stepping this for like keyboard step many, I would keep it in. I would try to put some interesting rhythm over it because I really like the part. But it makes no sense even to me, even to a person which basically brings out his child to the world. It doesn't make any sense to me to keep this part in. In the arcade, it would be too messy. It would bring like unnecessary pause, maybe. But in a sense of the completeness of the track, I think it is definitely essential. Because when I did this, instead of trying to rearrange and maybe try to remix it over and over and over again, I was suddenly really happy with the result. I just wanted this stop where I could say, well, I'm not ashamed of it at all. This is a good piece. And I was too fixated on, okay, I got the structure down, but now I have to get the sound. And basically I missed that the structure needed even more tweaking. And the structure is kind of complicated. It is understandable that you can fail at it. I would excuse myself. But still, I'm so happy that these guitars are here. One little, like, I don't know if it's a secret or tweak or quirk or whatever it is. You can hear that this melody ends like ta-da-da-da-ta. It comes back to a stable note. But it was a last minute edit because for some reason I thought it would be a good idea to keep it like this. So it's like more tense. Na-da-da-pa-pa-da-da-pa. Not na-da-da-pa-pa-da-da-ta. This version. But it didn't work, and I changed it at the last minute. So basically, this is a little story of me being my own savior. Okay, I hope you're having a good time right here, and let's continue on. I'm glad that you are writing messages. I'm reading them. Be sure about that. And if you have any questions, please ask them. I see one or two already, and I'll answer them later. So, the fact number 5 is the starting sample is made out of a clock sound, specifically cuckoo clock. I had to ask a friend to Google for me because I was too busy to spend a minute on it to find how do you say it in English. So I was working on what we call granular synthesis. If you go to my Instagram, you would hear a lot of scary sounds like this strange, like more heavy and more playful monsters. Right now I'm a little bit better with it, so it comes out a little bit more hard and I don't know, hardcore, something like this. It's like more complex right now. These are stems from 2019, very, very recent stems. But it was back then, and in this process I refurbished the sample, which was like basically this recording, and it came out, just a second, I'm looking for it, like this. And of course, if you heard the track before, you remember the sound. I hope you can hear it, by the way. Yeah, you can. And also, we can flick through the folder and listen to other samples from the same clock. You can definitely hear, but sped up. Uh-huh. I just wanted a really silly and stupid sound, and this whole pack was looking at me like more than 200 sounds done in one night. It was a long night. So I decided to start the track with it, and I think it works really well. It sets the mood up. Okay, let's move on. But before, fact number 6. The track could have a really stupid, retro-styled seductive intro. Stupid in kind of a good way, maybe? I was still kidding, right? I was trying to make it a little bit more silly and try to still work something unusual in. So I even forgot about this idea. I found this little skit. I'm going to play it to you in whole. Okay. So I was thinking I even asked a very good friend of mine to try to play like a seductive woman in this part, like maybe something really stupid and corny between the lines of do you come here often? And like this little bar talk, right? I wanted to style it in this like cheesy, even maybe close to an adult movie kind of style. So it was the basic idea of we are going to switch genres very, very fast, very quickly. Just the same as we do in between of the song when we do like this little dubstep cut. I wanted to make this impression that we are going for a very strange thing and then just snap to ta-da-ta-dam-dam, this laser focused and very sharp saw synths in there. But it didn't pan out. I couldn't find the right fit, and you can definitely hear from the skit that it's not really working. I was not considering this final version by any means. It was just a reference for my friend to listen to understand the basic mood, like this little yeah samples on the background, like this kind of really corny 70 to 90 stupidity. But yeah, I just dropped that. Let's go further and see what we have in store. We have 3 more interesting lines, and this is maybe my favorite one. And this is counting that you're going to listen to a track that you never heard before tonight. But this part is still my favorite. Okay, the fact goes like this. The whole finished track is covered with little comedic patches. What do I really mean by that? Okay. Once I had the track practically done, it sounded like you listen to it, you hear something like this. Okay, yeah, and in here, for example. This is not the actual master that you hear, that you heard before, or that you would hear on my YouTube once I upload it, or what you get on my SoundCloud. But it's basically what I sent to pump it up. But here's your little secret. Can you figure out what's missing in this mixdown compared to this one? First one. Second one. Okay, the most noticeable is this oh sample on the background. Can you hear it? Oh, something like this. Right here, it's missing. But all the track is kind of flat. and you can't really tell unless you put your headphones on. This is the full one. This is one where something is missing. Okay, it's ridiculous. I can hear a difference clearly myself. But I went and I started a new project, which was called Just Kidding, Kidding, for some reason. I basically threw the complete track in there, and I added maybe 20 more tracks, which were, the number is really surprising to me. I thought it was like some little something and some samples, and I don't know. But when I opened it up tonight, I saw it's basically another almost full-fledged project with very interesting and strange something. So let me introduce you. This is the part when you can hear, for example, let's start with this one. This is not the complete one. This is the complete one, which is ridiculous to compare, and no one can hear the difference. And this is what is added. So, in the same vein, we're going to listen to this strange track whole, and you can, everybody who knows the track really well can try to understand where we are right now, but I'm going to guide you, nevertheless. This is the starting point here. Okay, and what we have in this supplement, as I call it, supplement track. Okay, here the beat started, so we have the stereo addition for the kick to cut through, which really works. I don't know what that is, and if I would explain every single sound to you, it would make no sense even to me. I was adding them like by feel, not even hearing them that well. We're coming to the dubstep drop. Here's the pause. And now here comes the... Okay, here right now you are here. And you can hear this in the background. So the idea behind this little strange melodies is to make the bass part to cut better in terms of a melody. So I wrote an overtone, basically, and tried to patch my mistakes during the creation of the actual bass synth. So let's come and listen to this part. Right as the melody starts, you can hear that. Meanwhile, okay, no one can hear this, I just bet you. This is the heavy part, this part. These drums really do work. You want them to cut through. This is the stadium part with guitars. And a really cheap synth underneath. And the last part with guitars and melodies. So this was really a lifesaver for me. It was playful, it was a nice idea. And one more like tiny note is coming up at the very final of the track. Here. Ding! To make it more da-da-da-da. here. So all of them, in the end, all of them matter. But they are so hard to make out that they basically comprise your physical feeling about the track. And I highly recommend to anybody to try this method out. If you create music at all and you are stuck with your master, just pull yourself out of it and try to work like with a complete track. What do I really need to add to the sound? So create the sound and just add it in there. It was the first time I did that, and it was not only a relief, but later turned out to be a very, very good discovery. So let's get back to our background music and listen to two more facts before we finish up. Okay, the eighth one is the version in PU is not the same as the version you've heard. Basically, we had, I don't know, how do you call this, miscommunication, I don't know what it was, but they made a cut which I didn't really like, and they showed it to me, which is really nice. It's still in the Pump It Up. I don't like the cut in there. They have one like extra 4 bars which they don't fit really. It kind of breaks the structure, which I'm really sensitive to. I don't like when people cut my songs. For some reason they not really they rarely come up with a good one. But in Pump It Up, on the other hand, they have a really good cuts of Video Out C and Smells Like a Chocolate, my other older songs. And also, whoever made the cut for Nervous in Pump It Up Infinity, I think they did a really good job, because this is a very hard track to cut. Very complex, very dense, and very story-driven, which means if you throw something away, it maybe doesn't work, which I think partially happened to Just Kidding. When I revised the sound and recut the track, I also made a version of the cut which was completely the same as they did, just so they can just replace it without doing anything, in case they already had charts made or something. But for some reason they didn't accept it, and right now in every Pump It Up machine you can hear an older version of a track which is more harsh. It maybe cuts through the noise better, maybe, but it's too when you listen to it on a very good sound system, or when you listen to YouTube rips, which happened really quickly, of course, you can definitely say that there is a big difference in clarity, in like basically the version in Pump It Up is a little bit more lackluster in my opinion, and this one could really cut through the noise better and punch better. For some reason it didn't happen, and it is what it is. So the eighth fact was the version in Pump It Up is not the same as the version you've heard. The ninth and the final, I think, fact is, in fact, it could be absolutely different song, and you'll listen to it right now. So I made a completely different draft at first. I was going for something completely different, and I thought it was great for Pump It Up. But for some reason, it was even harder for me than Just Kidding. I'm not sure I can finish this one. But tonight I came back to it to polish it just a little bit before I show it to you. And I thought, maybe. I still have a very definite idea about it. So I wrote a little story and fleshed it out with melodies, and was really excited to work on the track. But then I got my hands full. Everything, my computer once again was stuttering, and I couldn't work my way through the thing. So I basically just came clean to Antamira and sent them two drafts. One was of this track that you're going to hear, and the second one was of what would later become Just Kidding. It was the first chords of it, playful ones, and I was really sure they would choose the second one, and they did. They chose the second. So I worked on Just Kidding. But instead, we had this draft going on, which was named Not Your Enemy. And maybe sometimes I'm going to release it. So let's do it. And that's where it fades out, because it didn't work out as I wanted. I planned two very different melodies. One was about a conflict and other was about love, and they intersect really well, and I know the ending already. But for some reason, I stuck with this for the longest time, and I already felt that this is not a Pump It Up track. We're going somewhere, or it couldn't be a Pump It Up track if I just kept all the parts in. Basically, it was just another big opus type project, as maybe Nervous was or Bass Through was. Too much melodies going on, too many parts, but not as playful as before. Really hard work for every segment. And before, I just enjoyed myself and did whatever I could and whatever I wanted to, which is a big difference in terms of time investment and all that stuff. But I'm still really proud to show this little skit to you, because I'm not completely sure if it's going to come to any sort of life. And at least it's kept publicly here, which is good. So this is the end of the list about Just Kidding. This was a track which ate 8 months of my life. It was not the easiest work, but sometimes people come up to me and tell that they just love the track more than most of other works, that it's really energetic and this and that. It happens rarely, but it happens. And also it's still there in the Pump It Up, and despite the background and cut and all of that, and most definitely why it's goddamn off-synced. I don't like off-sync at all. Please sync it later. Please, it's super obviously off-synced on a real machine. This is like, I'm going to forgive everything. I just want to play this chart on sync, please. but it was a good time. And I hope it was a good time for you as well tonight, right here. Thank you for coming, all of you. I never got any extra questions. There was one from Dicalid about Citus, but I can't really discuss it right now. I am sorry. I want to keep this part to myself and discuss it with myself, basically, and then come back to you with some concrete results. He's asking about Citus 2 and my songs in it. So I hope you appreciate the time. I hope it was a nice gathering for you. And if you are listening to this later, let's have a high five, all of us. Thank you for coming. See you later, guys. Bye.